first official podcast of 2025 with a very special guest, Mr. Amar Ghose, the CEO and founder of ZenMaid.
Every problem that you run into on the business, you are essentially getting paid to solve that problem. When you solve that problem, there will be a financial reward on the other side of it. If someone is very new in the journey, that might be quite overwhelming. Just start where you are. You don't have to have everything perfect. It's not like stop what you're doing and document everything, but it's more just as you go and as you figure things out, you want to begin to take notes and to then, as you expand your organization, to make those notes more and more detailed.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Cleaning Business Mentor podcast. This is actually the first official podcast of 2025, and what better way to kick off this year's podcast with a very special guest who many of you may know. And for those of you that don't, we have Mr. Amar Ghose, the CEO and founder of ZenMaid. Welcome, Amar.
Thank you so much for having me. It's cool. I didn't know this was the first episode of 2025, so it's an honor to kick off the year with everyone.
It is. It's the first podcast, and I'm super excited to have you on today. I first want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and agreeing to sit down and record this podcast for the YouTube channel. I do want to say I'm a little like fangirling right now. I've been following you, and I've been a ZenMaid user actually since the very start of my business. So even before I went out and did my first house clean, I knew about your platform. I knew who you were. So for me, this is like a really big honor and almost like a full circle moment. So thank you again.
Yeah, well, thanks for being a long time user. It's great to chat and great to support your business.
Of course. So for those of you who are not familiar with who you are, if you could just give us a little bit of background, of what type of business you're in, how long you've been in the industry, and kind of just give those a little bit of background so that they know who this star Amar Ghose is.
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Omar, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ZenMaid, which is a scheduling software for maid services that hopefully many listeners have already heard of. But if you guys haven't, you can check that out at zenmaid.com. So that's something that I started in 2013. So it's been 11 years now that we've been doing this. And the year before that, I started and ran my own maid service. So I did only do that for about a year. We kind of incorporated in the wrong way, very young, like young 20s. And I kind of trusted my business partner at the time to do a bunch of like the stuff that got us into a little bit of trouble. And so we ended up shutting down after about a year. And another friend of mine approached me and pointed out that, we'd been sort of managing all the back office stuff ourselves, and essentially said, let's give this a shot. And so previous to that, so I grew up in Silicon Valley. I grew up in Palo Alto in California. So I feel like building a software company was not that like outside of the norm for a lot of kids that were kind of growing up like in that area, despite the fact that I'm not technical. So in a previous life, I was working in tech, but doing sales. And so when my co-founder approached me, it was because I had the experience running the maid service and then also doing sales. And then I learned marketing along the way, and he spent a bunch of time building our initial product, and now we have almost 10 people on our product team that are actively working on improving the product every single day. So we've come a long way.
No, that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. It's great to hear because it feels like sometimes when we start the cleaning business, we have no idea where it's going to land us, right? We're not thinking outside of let me start this cleaning business. So it's interesting to hear how starting the cleaning business, your initial idea, didn't work out how you wanted to, but it did lead you to a completely new path, a new journey. And I mean, I don't know, like you tell me, do you feel like, I feel like this is much better, like in my opinion, right? Like ZenMaid over having a cleaning business, because cleaning business is awesome, but you only can service so many people and reach so many people. But with a platform that like you've built, you're actually helping like so many other businesses along the way.
I would
So
say
are you happy like with the result of that? Are you
yeah,
like
I'm definitely happy with the result of it. I would say that it's a grass is always greener sort of thing, that like I've essentially traded in one set of challenges that all the listeners are very aware of for a different set of challenges that I have to solve like in software. I do think that on the software side it's much more aligned with kind of how I want to spend like my days and all of that. But yeah, like there are lots of things that I miss about actually having a maid service and everything, and so there's pros and cons to everything, but it certainly worked out for me, and I think that that's a really important point and probably a really important message that a lot of people like need to hear is that there's going to be listeners of this podcast where house cleaning business is not going to be your forever business. It's not going to be your path necessarily directly to like generational wealth. There's going to be a subset of people that may throw in the towel. There's going to be a subset of people that this is going to essentially be their foot in the door to something bigger and to something better. And then there's going to be a subset of people that are going to just turn this into like a multi-million dollar business, and they're going to be taking home, $2 million or whatever in revenue in a couple of years and really scaling it up. But I think that like overall, getting into the industry, giving it your all and learning like the ropes, it's always going to like pay off if you do the work, even if it's not this specific business that works. And so what I really love about this industry is, it can be frustrating that like anyone can come in and can get started, but that's also the beauty of it, right? Is that anyone can just go buy cleaning supplies and start their own maid service and have like their chance at the American dream. And that there's something really beautiful about that.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I love that you mentioned that. For those that are listening and watching, Amar and I, all of us were very familiar with all the struggles that we deal with as a cleaning business owner. There's so many components to make this business work. But like you said, with all of the learning and the struggle, there are other opportunities that, will open up for you, as well as, for those that maybe have thrown in the towel. There are a lot of skills that you build up, with running a business. But ultimately, I just love to see, people's growth over the years or how they change their path. So I think that's really awesome that you were able to, create something that has been helping so many cleaning businesses, over the course of since what was it, 2013
Yeah,
or 11, you said?
2013. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome. So for those listeners of mine that are not familiar with the software ZenMaid, number one, you probably haven't been through many of my videos because I do have a lot of videos up there about ZenMaid, but ultimately it's an amazing platform. It's something that I've implemented, at the start of my business when I was doing my research. And I think it's just amazing, for cleaning business owners. There's just so many different features that you guys have. And something else that I want to just say that like I appreciate as a customer is that you guys have always maintained pricing that's affordable compared to a lot of the other softwares that are out there. So I've always used ZenMaid, but I've also tried out different softwares as the business was
Mhm.
growing. But ultimately, I've always had the booking forms on my website. That was just something that I never took down because nobody ever has anything like it. But yeah, I would say the price point has been fantastic for those of you that are just starting out.
Mhm.
This is great for solo teams. This is great for those that have larger teams. It's super affordable. The features are amazing. And I just love it. I really, really do.
Awesome. Well, yeah.
It's an awesome product that you guys have built.
Yeah, we
Yeah, and
appreciate
I
that.
love all of the support that you guys have. You have an amazing Facebook page, YouTube channel. It's been amazing working with you guys, and honestly, I feel like it was a huge help for us in the first year when we were scaling our
Hmm.
business because we were solo cleaning and I was out there, scrubbing toilets. It was really difficult to answer the phones. So, that's where the booking forms that you guys have and the quoting forms really helped us get those few first
Yeah.
clients and still have people, booking in through the website.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's such an awesome software. If you guys are interested in learning more, we're going to put a link in the description of this video for you guys to go ahead and check that out. Another thing that I want to point out that I love about your software is that you guys do have that 14 free day
Hmm.
trial. There's a lot of SaaS software out there that they don't give free trials, so you don't even really know, whether or not it's something that you can learn and implement. But I do have some questions for you that I do want to
Shoot.
ask. So they're a little bit just like business related. All right, so this is a good one, actually. So, as a leader and an entrepreneur, what's one piece of advice that you wish you had when you first started on in the cleaning industry? Whether, if it could be in the house cleaning or ZenMaid. So, as a leader and entrepreneur, what's one piece of advice you wish you had when you first started?
There's probably a little bit of recency bias to this answer, but there's something that I came across recently that's almost like a way of reframing business problems that I really wish that I had had like earlier on is so essentially it's good to remember that essentially as entrepreneurs we are paid to solve problems. And I think that particularly when you're early on, you see a problem in the business and you get frustrated because I think that we expect when we get started, we expect business to be perfect, right? That like our successful entrepreneurial friends, usually they make it look pretty easy. I've never seen a company that was not, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but that's not like a total shit show, right? On the inside, right? Like that they're all like that. And so I heard something like recently of just like every problem that you run into on the business, you are essentially getting paid to solve that problem. When you solve that problem, there will be a financial reward on the other side of it. And like I'm now at like the point with ZenMaid where it's like some of the decisions and some of the problems that I've solved in the past couple of months we're literally going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars because of those things. But I feel like early on there were lots of times that I was just frustrated and angry and just like, what's the point? Why do I work so hard and then have to give up my profit margin because XYZ made a mistake? And these situations that I think, everyone listening will have like seen or have experienced for themselves by now. And it's literally just something to remember of every time that happens, there's some of your competitors that throw in the towel and give up. And if you just keep with it and you just keep busting through problem after problem, eventually the world will like reward you. And it's just like you just have to keep going. And so I don't know. Obviously, I did keep going, but I feel like that reframe would have helped me a lot when I had started.
Oh, no, 100%. I love that advice for our listeners and those watching because you're absolutely right. Like, you start a business and you really have no idea how many problems you're going to run into, small, big, of all different sizes and all over the place. But in the beginning, I did. I used to get frustrated. I used to get down on myself. Same thing. I used to be like, why am I doing this? Right. And entrepreneurs don't talk about it often because, like you said, like our friends make it look so easy and so fun. It's like, yeah, we're making money. I have my own schedule. But nobody gets on social media and tells you about having to give up your profit margin, about not getting paid, about all these like major problems that arise. However, like you said, like getting through it is super important. Number one, you are getting paid for it. You're getting paid to solve a problem. And yeah, number two, it's going to make you a better person. One of my mentors told me, he was like, so I used to have major anxiety. Thank God it's like minimal now. But major anxiety and deciding to start a business, they don't go together. They don't go well. So the first year when I had my mentor, he caught on very quickly. He's like, wait a minute. He's like, you need to relax, number one. And I'm just like, but it's always a problem. Like waking up with an issue every single day, it's something new. And he's like, you need to, exactly like you said, reframe your thinking. You are now a problem solver. Like wear that like a hat and a responsibility, and it will feel it won't feel so stressful.
Yeah.
Like every day you wake up, like I am a problem solver. So now when, my family comes to me with these crazy issues that they're going through or something in business, rather than freaking out, or if it's happening to me directly, rather than freaking out, ruining my day, putting myself in a bad mood, I just think of it as like, okay, now let me get through this. Let's sit down. Everyone calm down. Nobody's dying.
Yeah.
And let's really like try to work on this issue and then get past the next one. So great piece of advice. Definitely just knowing that you're always going to be solving some type of issue. And on the bright side that you're getting paid will make, make things a little bit smoother, I would say for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah, and then I had someone recently also tell me, because I was telling her, I was having a little bit of a rough time with something. She had said that there are new devils at every level.
Hmm.
So, going back to how you mentioned in the beginning, I was like, I asked you, I was like, so how did you feel about ZenMaid? I mean, the cleaning business, and you said, well, I kind of just traded for another set of, work
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Problems,
Hmm.
right? You did say problems. I was trying not to say that. Yeah, you're right. For another set of problems. That's exactly it. That is what it is. It's like, listen, you're a problem solver. You get paid to solve these issues. So why not, do it as stress free as possible, which I know that's really hard to do. But yeah, I totally agree with you as far as always running into something new, right? It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. This business did lead me into this, but guess what? I'm starting all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was actually an awesome piece of advice. I really do appreciate that. I know that there are going to be people that are tuning in that are probably on the verge of quitting or giving up on something, and they're literally like this close to making a breakthrough. So my next question that I have for you is, this is going to be from the cleaning perspective. So from your perspective, what are the biggest mistakes cleaning business owners make and how can they avoid them?
I would say that
I mean, there's so many to pick from, but
yeah, there's a lot to pick from. I think that like generally what it almost always comes down to is like lack of sort of systems and process. So what tends to happen is every single cleaning business owner will come in with like their own strength, right? And so you'll have some people that will come in and they're really good at cleaning. Right. So, their friends and friends of friends have asked them to start cleaning and they start out as a solo cleaner. And then all of a sudden they have a full calendar and then they begin hiring. Right. And then you'll have other ones that are more like digital marketers or folks that just have a lot of friends and are kind of the organizers like of people or like whatever. And so everyone has like their own sort of strengths. And so what tends to happen is maid services tend to be very strong, aligned with the maid service owner's strengths at the beginning. But then over time, that strength actually becomes a weakness because usually it's not actually systematized. It's like, oh, I'm a really good cleaner. So I'm just going to hire other really good cleaners. And that's really tough to do, right? And so what happens is generally people will be systematized or they'll think about processes in one part of the business, but it's not until they start taking that thinking to the entire business. If it's like, oh, I found a way to get leads last week. How do I turn that into a system so I get leads every week? And then how do you take a system like that and then put a system in for cleaning and then a system in for hiring and then a system for all these different parts of the business? And so like the commonality between the bigger businesses versus the smaller businesses is to reach a certain size of business, you have to have systems in place to make all of these different departments within the maid service work. And that's even if your departments are literally just you and an office manager or just you still should be thinking as like almost a marketing department, the service department, the billing department, and be thinking about your business in that way, even if it's just like you. And so I would say that's like the biggest thing. And that's why like your listeners come to you for help, right? Because a lot of what like you're offering them is, hey, here are the like some of the systems and processes that work for me. What do you need so we can get that in place in your business? And so then ZenMaid is trying to provide the actual automation tool that builds into the entire company that system and process. And so like you and I are solving very similar problems, but from different directions for everyone, like everyone listening. And so everyone needs a little bit of both depending on where they are.
yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I also agree that systematizing is a really big issue for a lot of cleaning companies. And, we experienced that ourselves. Like the whole first year was just about growth, growth, growth. How many cleans can we book in a day? How many new clients can we get? So then when it came to the beginning of year two, it was messy because we were bringing on a lot of new hires. We were letting people go. We were hiring people that we didn't need, letting people go. And it wasn't because of the people that we were bringing on to the team. It wasn't the cleaning technicians. It wasn't the salespeople. It wasn't the office help. It was me. It was me because I didn't have these systems in place. I didn't even have, I couldn't explain to anybody what it is they had to do step by step, right? It was kind of like, oh, here, oh, you don't know how to do that. So it can definitely be messy, and it can actually hurt the business, like when you're growing, like we were at the end of year one and into year two, because things just got so out of hand. There were no processes, there were no, policies in place. So it is very important that everybody does learn how to systematize what they're doing. And, it can be something as so simple as, how do we answer the phone, right? What is said when we answer the phone? What questions are being asked? What's happening with that information there, right? Are they typing in that client information into ZenMaid and then saving it and then sending a quote? Like, all of these things, they should be systematized, from answering the phone to how do you clean properly to the entire, quoting, booking, and billing. So 100% I agree with you on that, especially for those people that, are using pen and paper or not technologically savvy. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but, there are people such as myself and platforms such as ZenMaid that are out here trying to make it, as easy as possible for people that are just new to, let alone a business, but, using a platform or, getting on the computer to do something. So
And
yeah,
one
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, one last thing to just like add on onto that though is, so like if someone right now is listening and is very new, like in the journey, that might be quite like overwhelming. And so one thing is like, just start where you are. You don't have to have everything perfect. It's not like stop what you're doing and document like everything, but it's more just like as you go and as you figure things out, you want to begin to take notes, and to then, as you expand your organization, to make those notes more and more detailed, right? You don't have to have everything fully documented when it's just you doing everything, but you do want to be in that mindset where the better documentation that you have, the easier it'll be for you to find the help that you need and for them to deliver a consistent customer experience, right? So yeah, this is like an overtime sort of thing. You have to figure this out. But if you have 3 or 4 cleaners and you can't figure out how to get to like 6 or 8, you probably need to look at where in the business you're missing like systems, or where maybe you have systems but they're just not performing well enough.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Definitely, there's always room for improvement, within the cleaning business, and tweaking our systems and making any changes that are needed. But no, that was actually awesome advice. So now I'm going to ask you another one of my questions that I have set up. And this one is going to be geared toward ZenMaid. So the question that I have for you is, actually, I'm going to leave that one for last. Okay, so this one is from a software perspective. How do you ensure that ZenMaid stays ahead of the curve and continues to meet the evolving needs of cleaning business owners?
So I think the best thing there is to stay in touch with the actual users, right? And to actually talk to users. That I feel like a lot of people are surprised when I pop up on calls or in conversations on Facebook and stuff, just because we've been doing it for 11 years. And to me, it's like, when I lose touch with like the people that we're actually serving, that's probably when it's my time to like move on as CEO of ZenMaid. That like I don't need to be on those calls anymore, that I have team members that will handle all calls for ZenMaid, but I'm on them because I want to be on them, and because I want to stay close and to see what people need and what's changing. And when we started 11 years ago, nobody was asking for mobile apps, right? Like nobody was asking for a bunch of things that are necessary now. ZenMaid, we literally just released a feature today, the SOS like alert feature, that because it's a very female heavy like industry, 65-70% like female in this industry. I think everyone has had cleaners that have been put in uncomfortable situations and in just places that like they would prefer not to be. And so we've given a really easy way for cleaners to signal to the office of like, hey, like essentially call me so that the office, so they can, essentially step out, right? And it's a way of keeping folks safe. Well, that's something that, we work closely with Stephanie Pipkin. She joined us for the team retreat and was telling us about one of her girls who essentially was with a client who was drinking during like a 10 a.m. cleaning and was making the cleaner uncomfortable. And one of our developers was like, hey, Uber offers this feature that, like, if you're not feeling comfortable in an Uber ride, they've done this thing, why don't we do something similar? And so that's something that we put out there. That's the kind of thing that never would have come up if we weren't sitting in the room with actual maid service owners. So I would say that's like the number one thing. And then of course, like as like, the CEO of a growing like technology company, I also have to keep an eye on the technology. So right now we're looking into different ways that AI can be helpful for maid services and might be valuable to add into the ZenMaid app. That technology is something that opens up all sorts of possibilities that were completely outside the realm of possibility 2 or 3 years ago. And so, it's a combination of those things, but I think that to effectively serve all of like the amazing owners and the amazing people like in this industry, we have to put the cleaning industry first, right? That like before anything, we're cleaning industry experts and we apply that expertise through technology to help like maid services around the US and around the globe.
I just want to add to what you were saying. As a customer, a longtime customer of ZenMaid, one of the, I mean, I have a lot of reasons why I love the software, but one of the top reasons that ZenMaid is just like one of my favorite softwares in general, not just booking, is that you guys do have that live chat,
Mm-hmm.
right? You do have support, right? And you would think that it's like something that's common, right? Like you buy a platform or you're paying for something monthly and you just expect for there to be a live chat. But not on every
Mm-hmm.
software there is, you know, that help that you guys have. And I think that's a really huge deal for anybody that's listening as well. Amar was just telling us how he listens to all of that feedback. And it's true. I can tell you that I know this is true for many reasons. Number one, I happen to be in one of the group chats where there are a lot of cleaning business owners giving you feedback, and we're working essentially together, to give you the feedback that you need to stay ahead of that curve. But also, years ago, actually, I would be messaging the live chat. And this was before you guys had like an affiliate program. So I would mess like, hey, do you guys have an affiliate program? They're like, no, not yet. And this was like 6 years ago. And I would keep messaging from time. And then I got an email one day. It was like, hey, do you want to sign up for the affiliate program? And I swore I was like, yeah, that was me. But I know
Yeah.
it wasn't just me. But I know that that is legitimately like what you were saying. You guys do take like all those messages that people are sending,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you help me with this? All of that feedback that you guys get, I can tell you from like, one of a client perspective, they really do listen. They listen, and they do new features all the time. Like you said, I did see that SOS feature. I got the email this morning and I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for that, because that's amazing. I mean, how many of us have been in a situation where we felt uncomfortable? I know I have. And I'm sure that a lot of cleaning technicians have felt that way before,
Yeah.
whether, it's a customer or somebody standing outside. But having that feature, I think, is great. And I just love to see all of the updates that you guys are bringing to the table. I feel like there's an announcement every couple of weeks. And I can say that from my own experience, I feel like you guys are doing an amazing job serving the cleaning community, in more ways than one. The platform itself is great. All of the updates that you guys have, the support that you have for those that are just learning the platform, the onboarding that you guys offer for
Mm-hmm.
new companies, right?
Yeah.
Which is huge. Like I said, I've tried many, many softwares. ZenMaid, you guys are the only software that I have worked with that will sit down with a cleaning business owner and help them, import all of that information.
Yeah.
Because something that might be simple to you or myself, importing, exporting it's not that simple for everybody. So if you guys are listening and, you're working with pen and paper, you're looking for a scheduling software, definitely go ahead and check out ZenMaid, you guys. It's one of the best softwares that I've ever, purchased in my life. It's very easy to learn. There are tons of different support for you guys on there, videos, Facebook groups, and I just love to see everything that you guys are doing for the cleaning community for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we really, really appreciate that, and yeah, it's nice to be recognized for that because that was something that I think it's one of kind of our advantages. It's something that any of our competitors could do, but I think it's something that we've just taken very seriously. Of it's like we're the ones who are the experts in technology, not our customers, and we're very, very aware of that. So I literally have a post-it note that like I don't know if you know this or if like viewers know this, but like, my mom is Puerto Rican, so I'm part like Hispanic, and I have a post-it note on my board here that says treat customers like they're your abuela. And that's something that we have in like across like the board, and it's to really emphasize to my team of it's like, hey, like we're not helping even like like younger folks or like millennials generally, like we're helping like our moms, right, or like our grandmothers to make use of the software because our customers are very, very smart in their own way, and for most of them, they like technology, it's just like it's not something that they're using all of the time. And so, feature for feature, we are very, very similar to many of our competitors. I mean, honestly, this SOS feature is one of the first ones that I'm pretty sure I can say we are the only ones to do that in the industry. But almost every other feature that we offer, you can at least find it in some of our competitors. The difference is that in ZenMaid, it should be a lot easier for you to actually use and to get value out of. But even if it's not, our support team is here to help you, and we don't expect you to figure it out for yourselves. So if that's something, if you're listening and you haven't moved over because, you just don't think that you're going to be able to like to learn it, that's why we're here. So reach out and we can help.
100%. And it's also too, if you guys are stuck paying for a platform right now that you're using that you don't know how to use,
Yeah, exactly.
this is also an opportunity to give this a try. As I mentioned before, they do have a 14 free day trial, which is awesome. Again, they're thinking about the customer. I've seen some platforms, they just want your credit card information. They expect you to pay for the first month without even trying the product out, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you said that because you do have a really good point. I can imagine that a lot of business owners now are, our abuelas, our
Mhm.
moms. And I work with a lot of these companies who, by the way, they do pretty decent.
Yeah.
They've done very well, some of these companies, for working, decades without any type of software. But it is a lot to manage,
Mhm.
right? So, and I tell these people, if you're doing this kind of numbers on pen and paper, like, imagine how much more you can add to that
Yeah.
by automating some of these tasks, right? There's just so much that you can do to save time, which I think, is another awesome, feature about ZenMaid. It's not just scheduling, you guys. Yes, it's great to schedule, but you can also send invoices, automated reminders, stuff about your employees. I think it's definitely a great platform for you guys. If you're interested, please be sure to check out the link in the description of this bio. Another thing that I wanted to say for those that are listening, will there be a Maid Summit 2025?
Yes, we have confirmed. I don't think we've confirmed the dates yet, but we are doing that. We had a bit of a change of personnel that got in the way. We essentially brought in like a like new marketing leadership right at the beginning of 2024, and we just weren't able to get it organized for last year. But you were not the only one to ask that. Yeah, for the listeners, if you guys go to maidsummit.com, you can see I think it's still like last year's website that is up for that, but that is a free virtual conference that we have done for the past 5 years with some amazing, amazing speakers like our host here.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys definitely be on the lookout for that. As I mentioned, ZenMaid is an amazing platform for cleaning business owners, especially if you're just starting out or you're using a platform that you're not familiar with. But they have a lot of resources, free resources for you guys. So, and we're going to make sure to put all of ZenMaid's and Amar's contact information in the description of this video. But be sure to go give them a follow on Instagram, on Facebook. Be sure to join their Facebook group. They have a couple of different Facebook groups, and they have some amazing moderators, cleaning business owners in there. doing lives and answering questions. And it's a really huge community of business owners from all around the world that are helping out answer questions for one another. So if you guys are not a part of those Facebook groups, I'll be sure to link them down below. But the Made Summit is another add-on that they put together. And honestly, it's so worth it. You will have a number of different speeches and presentations by a number of cleaning industry experts, people that, own cleaning businesses or some way in the cleaning industry. But definitely also, be on the lookout for the ZenMaid Summit 2025. And then Amar, another question that I have for you is where do you see, because you're always, adding all these features, and I know that, working in software, even like the smallest little feature takes time, right? People just think that they can ask you for something and and then you snap your fingers or you yell to somebody in the back like, hey, pump out that SOS feature, because that's, I mean, in the reality, that's what we think. Like, well, why can't we do this? It's not that simple. It's like a lot of work that goes into building software.
Yeah.
But where do you see ZenMaid in the next 5 to even like 10 years, like in the industry? Like, where do you see ZenMaid in 5 to 10 years from now?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, no, that's a funny one though, the way that you introduced that question, because actually in some ways it does feel like that for me now, but the difference is that like before I used to be able to maybe like do that and like whatever I was asking for would come back like a couple of days later, a couple of meetings or whatever. And now it's like I can be like, great guys, get out this thing. And the team will come back and be like, great, that'll be 12 months. And you're just like, wait, what? Like we used to be able to move so fast, and it's just, it's just complicated. There's just more things that can break, more testing, all of like that stuff. So yeah, great question about where we think that we'll be in like in 5 to 10 years. So honestly, like I don't make too many future predictions like that simply because the world can just change so drastically. Like to me, I think that if we continue to solve problems on a daily basis to make maid services more efficient, then like over time, or I mean, like essentially, like we're already winning in many ways, right? But we will continue to win and continue to help our users to win. So like I can definitely see more like AI features, and like really what it is that as the software gets better and better, it'll essentially do more and more for the owner so that the owner can really just focus on the things that like we can't do, right? Like training the cleaners, quality control, building up those sorts of like systems, like hiring people, like all of that stuff where like we can't really like chip in or can't really chip in like yet. And so it's really just kind of continuing to move in that direction. One cool thing though that I have like that I have thought about, that I don't know if this will ever come true, but I just think it'd be a really cool thing if we could make it happen, is almost like, for any listeners, if you guys have ever played like The Sims or some game like that, where like, you think about like just having health points or like money in like the top left and then like a 3D sort of like map view of something going on. I think that it would be amazing if as an owner, you could wake up in the morning and at any time look at your phone and see like on an actual map view where all of your teams are at any given time, who's earning you money, who's driving between appointments, who's like at lunch, and having this actual just like little animation that actually just visually shows you exactly what is going on, and then just having your little counter of like your daily revenue or your daily profit, and just having that number just keep going up every single like, hour of like the day as more cleanings happen. I don't know if that's really necessary. I don't really know if that actually adds any value, but I just get the feeling that like a lot of people would just get addicted
That's
to it.
cool though.
Yeah, right? It's one of those ones, yeah. I don't know like when we can justify that, but I just think that that would be so cool if we could give
Yeah.
you that visualization of like of your business at some point in the future. But yeah, who knows? That's a head in the clouds kind of idea.
No, but I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Because as you're saying it, I know exactly kind of like what you mean. And I could totally see people like appreciating that, right? One of my virtual assistants, he has like a virtual office, which I thought was kind of cute. And he showed me you can see people like moving to their desks. And I'm like, this is so cool. You're right. I would be addicted to that. I'd be
Yeah.
like, let me see what this one's doing. So, I mean, I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. If that ever does happen, I'll be sure to clip this for you and
Nice, nice.
we'll definitely play that back. But I do want to thank you so much for coming onto the show. I want to thank you, not just for coming onto the show, but also everything that you guys and the ZenMaid team do for the cleaning industry. You guys really did help me, and you still do help me with the operations of my business, but also, working with a lot of my clients that I introduced to the product, it also seeing them be able to change the trajectory of their business and make things easier on them and teach them something that, is not overcomplicated. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for that because, it's not just my life, it's everyone else that comes in and uses the product that makes the business side of the operations a lot easier. So I want to say thank you for that. And I'm just so proud of like how well, the company, how it's growing. You guys are having a new team. I see you guys got new marketing. It's just awesome. Like I feel like I've only been a user for like this last 6 years, but just seeing the growth of your team and ZenMaid and just like I said, the lives that you guys are changing, the businesses that you guys are helping improve. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you guys do.
Yeah, well, we very, very much appreciate it. It's certainly nice to be appreciated, but yeah, it's why we do what we do. So yeah, thank you very much.
For sure. And like I said, a huge part of it, and I think you mentioned this, what kind of like separates you guys from the other platforms out there, it really has been the help that you guys have, the personal, connection, like you said, hopping on the calls and just giving everybody, that extra attention that a lot of us
Yeah.
need because like you said, not everybody is tech savvy. So thank you so much again for everything. If you guys want to connect with Amar, I will be putting the information down in the below description. If you guys want to sign up for a 14 free day trial for ZenMaid, we'll also have a link in the description of this video. Be sure to join the Facebook group, join all the groups that you guys, I'm going to link for you at the bottom because there are just tons of gems in these groups, in these videos that you guys do not want to miss. And I hope that I get to see you in person one day.
Yeah.
We could sit down and do a podcast. So exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you guys for everything. And we will definitely be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks again.